My name is John Herron, and I'm running for election to the Select Board. Thank you for your support during my time on the board. Respect for each other's ideas, pride in our differences, and honesty are important to me. My roots in Dartmouth run deep. I love Dartmouth, and I'm proud to live here with my wife in the house my family built in the 1950s. The last 2 years, we faced challenging times with the pandemic. I'm optimistic we finally reached a turning point. We all learned a lot about Dartmouth's resilient ability to face uncertain times. The pandemic and resulting economic turmoil have placed a burden on many. You and I have a lot in common. I'm an average person, a hardworking, tax-paying resident who understands the rising costs to put food on the table and heat our homes. I dread the sound of the oil truck. My experience in Dartmouth has given me a lot of insight into our needs and resources. I made a commitment to represent you and serve Dartmouth 19 years ago, currently on the Select Board, as a town meeting member, and as chair of the Prudential Committee in Fire District 1. I want to continue my efforts to help others with cost-effective and common-sense decisions. I am proud to represent our community and take the necessary action for Dartmouth voters' voices to be heard. When approached by a Wampanoag tribe member regarding the Dartmouth Indian symbol controversy, I knew it was important to bring this issue to the whole town. I wrote and presented the ballot referendum to the Select Board so that the voters could decide. Dartmouth has several important issues. We must prioritize Bliss Corner remediation and maintain Lake Nokichoke. It is critical we ensure the DPW has what they need to provide safe water. And we must make a plan for our aging schools and look for new revenue opportunities. As a voter, please consider which candidate has the experience, long-term commitment, and can be trusted to represent you, the taxpayers, by spending your money wisely. I offer you my common sense approach, long-term experience serving Dartmouth, and cautious spending tax dollars, your tax dollars. I'm only one voice, but I stand by my word to listen to you, make no promises I can't keep, and always make financially sound decisions for Dartmouth without sacrificing our safety or security. With your support, I will continue to give Dartmouth a voice in a fair and open government. I ask for your vote on April 5th. Thank you.
Hello, I am Heidi Silva Brooks, a lifelong resident of Dartmouth. I attended Dartmouth's public schools from kindergarten through grade 12, a proud member of the marching band. Long before the term Dartmouth Pride was coined, I truly believe I lived the spirit of Dartmouth Pride, and on occasion have been known to absolutely bleed green. After graduating from college, I returned to Dartmouth and married fellow Dartmouth native Bruce Brooks. In our early marriage, Bruce and I toyed with the idea of moving. However, when we listed the qualities of the community we would choose, we realized that we were looking for Dartmouth. So we focused our energy on creating our home, raising our family, and serving our town. In June 2020, I retired from Dartmouth Public Schools. During my 36-year career, I created school experiences that supported growth of students as well as adults. I did not do that alone. In order to create our happy place, which we had come to love, we needed to identify our common goals and work together to challenge our perceptions and redefine the educational experience. I intend to bring those administrative skills to the Select Board. To that end, I have outlined my plan by focusing on Dartmouth Pride. We need to partner across departments, agencies, and the region. We need to respect each other's views despite our differences. We need to inspire our students. We need to develop systems that allow for residents' voices in community action. And we need to monitor and control our impact on the environment. That is the message that I would like to bring to the citizens of Dartmouth. However, it seems that the most important issue today in Dartmouth is the fate of the Indian logo. I, like many others, have worn the Indian logo with pride and have felt that the depicted native profile was revered. That being said, I remember the cheerleaders and majorettes in full headdress, the playing of a tomahawk chop drumbeat, as well as the Indians on the Warpath cheer. that were featured in high school rallies and on the sidelines at football games. So while I believe that the current Indian logo to be a source of pride, I do not believe that we as a citizenry have acted as such. If the school committee should vote to continue the use of the Indian logo, I would recommend that they adopt a curriculum to ensure that the students are educated in Dartmouth's local native cultures, and at no time do we or they conduct themselves in ways that demean that history. Dartmouth is unique in its sense of pride, and we have much to be proud. Whether you were born here, have chosen to live here, raise your family here, or retire here, there's a place for you in crafting the direction of our community. I look forward to serving Dartmouth with the same pride that I have had in all other aspects of my life. Dartmouth is my happy place. Please vote for me on April 5th. Thank you.
Hello, my name is John Nunes, and I am a candidate for re-election to the Dartmouth School Committee, and I'm looking for your vote on April 5th. It has been a pleasure to serve on this committee for the past 31 years. I would like to thank DCTV for the opportunity to speak to you today. The past 3 years have probably been the toughest of my tenure with the COVID virus and all its different variants. I am very proud of the leadership shown by our administration, the work done by our staff, and especially our students who showed great resilience these past 2 years with mask wearing and social distancing. Hopefully now we can get down to the real important issues of teaching our students and helping them in these difficult times with social and emotional issues. The next 3 years will see a tremendous amount of COVID funds coming into our district. We need to make sure that these funds are spent wisely and in correct areas to support our students and staff. I thank you for your support the past 31 years. When I first was elected in 1990, my campaign slogan was, "He cares about education." I assure you that that passion is still there. I know one of the questions out there is our Dartmouth Indian symbol. Please know that I support this symbol and always will. I ask for your vote on Tuesday, April 5th. Thank you for your time and attention. Have a good day.
Members of the Dartmouth community, my name is Christopher Oliver, and I'm a 9-year member of the Dartmouth School Committee seeking a 4th term. I am here asking for your vote on Tuesday, April 5th. A resident of Dartmouth for over 20 years, I have grown to love and embrace this community. Make no mistake about it, I am vested in the Dartmouth Public Schools in this town. As a parent with a sophomore at Dartmouth High School, and as an administrator in another public K-12 district, I have close to 20 years in public education experience and care deeply about improving our school system and keeping Dartmouth pride alive. The stakes, as well as the social emotional needs of our students, have never been higher as we slowly emerge from the global COVID-19 pandemic. The ESSER funds, which were meant to provide assistance during the pandemic for staffing and supply needs, will only last so long. The district will need to make decisions around what is best for our students and whether we should ask for more money in our operating budget in the future to keep these ESSER-funded programs and positions going. As a community, we need to come together at the table and decide if we want to keep investing in our aging buildings or begin to consider renovations or building replacements for some of our schools. Hard decisions will need to be made for the future of this community. During the past 9 years sitting on the Dartmouth School Committee, I've gained valuable knowledge and insight into our school department and town. I am proud of my many accomplishments and feel I'm a collaborative member with no hidden agendas, listening to all members of the committee in town. From being on the first school committee to approve school choice to allow for additional millions in funding over the years and give students from outside of Dartmouth a chance to attend Dartmouth High School, to sitting on the turf field committee, which has now completed the first phase of our aging memorial stadium, I still have more work to be done. I want to see phase 2 carried to fruition with the renovation of the stands and other buildings on the field. I also want to be part of doing something unique and special in our town. I have a great interest in moving the school department in town forward with a formalized agreement with the Aquinnah Wampanoag tribe. We have an opportunity to create a one-of-a-kind relationship where there is more emphasis on the Wampanoag culture in our schools, and our students can have more opportunities to hear from the tribe. In regards to our iconic Indian symbol created by one of Aquinnah's own, I am in favor of saving it. Based on the tribal forum that took place last week, the public forum which is happening shortly, as well as the non-binding ballot referendum in April, I believe there will be a way to work together and find a place in local history for it, rather than cancel it. I ask for your vote on Tuesday, April 5th.
Hi, my name is Lynn Turner. I am a candidate for the Dartmouth School Board. I have been a resident of Dartmouth for 23 years. 17 of those years, I have had children in Dartmouth Public Schools. 2 are currently in the system. I have a 10th grade son and an 8th grade daughter. 3 of them have already graduated from Dartmouth Public Schools, and some of you may remember Sarah, Max, and Charles Turner, who are now in their 30s. My background is in teaching elementary education. In my time of teaching, I have taught grades 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th grades. I have been employed in New Mexico, where I grew up, and in Massachusetts. I currently help with my husband's businesses, and I coach a girls' high school tennis team in Rhode Island. In the years of raising our young children in Dartmouth, I have volunteered to lead Cub Scouts, teach Spanish to children, help in their classrooms, and manage an improv team for Destination Imagination. I have volunteered for many activities around my children, and now I am volunteering to be on the school board if I am elected. As a school board member, I would like to help our town's children get back to a sense of normality. I would like to work to restore some of the joy that was lost to them during the pandemic. I have a Kids First agenda that puts kids and their needs front and center. We need to capture a complete view of issues that our children are facing. And one way our board can grow in this area is to allow open public comments at our meetings, to allow for people to advocate and express their opinions before we make decisions that affect their children. Currently, our public comments are strictly limited to the agenda, and if we are not compliant, the chair reminds us that they do not have to allow public comment at all. I will be advocating for open public comment. I would also like to be clear. I stand with our local Aquinnah Wampanoag tribe in keeping the symbol of the Native American and the name of Indians. I would like a seat at the table, the school board table, and I would be honored to serve our community in this way. I want to help make Dartmouth Public Schools one of the healthiest and safest and one of the most educationally inspiring places to raise our youth. My website is Vote Lynn Turner to learn more about my campaign or to email me.
Hello, I'm Jim Griffith, candidate for trustee of the Dartmouth Free Public Libraries. Books have been the greatest aid to human knowledge distribution in the history of our species. I know libraries are more than books, but that is where my lifelong love of libraries began. My background has caused me to have been in many libraries all over the world, and I can say that they all have the same challenge: how to connect the knowledge-seeking with the knowledge. This task is difficult differently depending on who the learner is. In our case, we have very young learners, casual learners, and lifelong learners, all of whom respond to information in its different forms differently. In all of those cases, the challenge is the same. Get the wisdom of the world to the curious. I also believe that the accessible wisdom comes in big bits and small. In all cases, we need to provide an open, inviting, and inclusive environment. The wisdom and the environment cost a lot of money. The voters and leaders of our town have so provided. It is up to us to make the most of what we have. Our library facilities are used by various community groups, further advancing knowledge transfer in Dartmouth. We have attracted excellent librarians. They can and will help you find that which you seek. Our learners are here and there. Perhaps they will explore and find what they need in one of our excellent facilities. Perhaps they could do that part from home first. Perhaps they could look for words, images, and sounds. We are in the perhaps business. Maintaining what we have is hard. Getting better, harder still. There are always obstacles. Leaking water, HVAC, tech upgrades, staffing, but I will be pleased to do my best. Our world is not likely to become less complex nor less in need of knowing. We aid Dartmouth when we keep our collective wisdom at our optimum. I have spent a fair amount of time in our Southworth and North Branch libraries, and I would be proud to be affiliated with them in this more formal capacity. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Lisa Tufano and I'm running for the Library Board of Trustees. First, I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself. My husband and I have lived in Dartmouth for 12 years. We have 2 children who are 7 and 9 years old. I'm a school psychologist and have been for 13 years. I've had the opportunity to work with every age group from preschool to age 22. Over the years, I've come to realize that each age group has its own unique characteristics that make them amazing to work with. I just love going to the beach, yoga, knitting, and exploring the many beautiful walking trails in our town. When I was in elementary school, I attended library once a week as a special, much like our elementary school students do now. My school library was also open certain afternoons each week after hours. I spent many hours there reading and rereading my favorite books. When the time came for me to transition to middle school, the school librarian presented me with a gift. It was a book, and not just any book, my absolute favorite book, which I had borrowed many times. She let me know that I had been the only student to borrow that book over the years, and she wanted me to have it. It meant so much to me to know that she realized just how vital that library was to my early development. I still own that book, and it's one of my most prized possessions. Years later, when I was in high school, I spent many hours in the school library tutoring fellow students who are at risk of retention at the request of my guidance counselor. When the time came for a school-sponsored event that required a staff sponsor, my staff sponsor was, of course, the school librarian. After graduating from high school and college, I worked as a circulation clerk in my public library while putting myself through graduate school. Now, the library continues to be an important part of my life and my family's life. As a family, we visit the library at least once a week. My children have had the opportunity to enjoy many of the wonderful children's programs over the years, and my husband and I have attended and enjoyed many of the adult programs as well. We have 2 beautiful branches to appreciate. I look forward to continuing to cultivate a culture of learning and reading in our community. I hope you'll vote for me on Election Day. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Michelle Keith, and I'm running for the open seat on the Town of Dartmouth's Board of Health. Our Board of Health's mission is to foster a healthy community by working to protect the community and to promote and educate healthy behaviors. We need to do something to help everyone recover from the stress of the last few years, especially for our children and our seniors. Limited social interaction has affected our friendships, family gatherings, and group connection, increasing societal loneliness. Research reveals air pollution increases our odds of dying early by 5%, obesity by 20%, excessive drinking by 30%, and loneliness by 45%. 5%. Loneliness or lack of connection is associated with higher risk of cardiovascular disease, dementia, depression, and anxiety. It also reduces task performance, creativity, reasoning, and decision-making. Additionally, stress can cause trouble thinking, concentrating, and remembering, which of course affects all of us, and how well our children will do in school. We've never been here before. This is new territory to navigate. Let's try to figure out what we can do to find our way back to connection with each other and good health and well-being. I ask for your vote and remain open to all ideas for making things better. Thank you and take care.
My name is Steve Taylor, and I'm running for re-election to the Dartmouth Planning Board. I've owned a home in Dartmouth for 26 years. My 2 adult children also live in Dartmouth and own their own homes. My first grandchild was born here 3 weeks ago. I care deeply about the long-term health, success, and conservation of our great town, both physically and financially. I care equally for our vibrant community and its members of all ages. My years on the planning board have taught me a lot. Our board is diligent and does a solid job serving one of our 2 core functions. We review and offer recommendations on various specific proposals for building and development in the town. We approve some, we make recommendations to improve others to become worthy of final approval. We reject very few, and we assure fairness to all who come before us. Our second core function is to do planning for Dartmouth's future. In my view, this is the most important function, and we could do it better. There are many other boards, committees, and town departments that review various aspects of new building proposals. At present, it consumes the vast majority of the planning board's time, too. I'm hoping, as I now run for re-election with meaningful experience, that the board will come to spend at least half our time on future planning. In its early draft stages, our current master plan has got some great ideas in it, but it's years behind schedule, partly due to COVID, but largely because we as a board haven't yet spent enough time on it. Moreover, our previous master plan, written almost 14 years ago, contained many of the same ideas for change that has yet to be implemented. With your vote and your support, I hope to help the board move forward discussing and implementing the following core ideas. We need not assume indefinite and unlimited growth, nor would we want to, as we seek to maintain the historic character of our town. We need to openly discuss whether growth is good or not, and if some is necessary, then what kind and where do we want it to be? And how can we prevent unwise or overly expensive growth? We need to focus carefully and intentionally on climate change and resiliency. We need to ask what policies, rules, and regulations will need to change to best protect Dartmouth's maritime character and successful farming. As we deal with climate change and resiliency, we must try to effectively achieve and manage sustainable prosperity for all our existing residential and business districts. Our choices need to be both financially and environmentally sustainable. Most important, for the success of the master plan process, we need to create a final chapter in the new plan that will assure its timely implementation and ensure that the implementation measures take effect immediately when the new plan is adopted. We cannot let another decade go by with our constituents' wishes clearly expressed in a past plan, but with many of them left unachieved. This planning work is not some other group's job. It's our job on the planning board. With your help and with your vote on April 5th, I hope to help the board bring fair, constructive, and positive change to the way Dartmouth's future is planned well, developed wisely, and is a process that thoughtfully serves our children and grandchildren for decades to come. Please vote on April 5th, and thank you.
Hello, my name is Nicholas Psychopatis. Many of you may know me as the son of my late father, Gus, and my mother, Kathy. My family goes back to the days of Olympic Restaurant and Lounge, where my family and I were grateful to serve many of you. Perhaps we were classmates starting at the Mellow School, or walked high school graduation together. As an adult, owning and operating 2 practices, I have been fortunate to serve Dartmouth and the surrounding area as a healthcare provider. Dartmouth is special to many of us for personal reasons, yet Dartmouth is special because it is Dartmouth. Arriving in Dartmouth as a young boy about to enter the 3rd grade, leaving a single-family home only to come to a multi-family home, Dartmouth was special. Rather it was when I was visiting during my college years or setting out to decide where my wife Christina and I would want to raise our son Dino, Dartmouth was once again special. Ranging from the 5,523 acres or 40 miles of trails throughout DNRT, Round Hill Beach, Paidnearham Village, or the vast woods of North Dartmouth, including the 85-acre Ridge Hill Reserve, the diversity yet well-preserved vistas of Dartmouth are of ongoing concern. Such diversification requires zoning considerations for all purposes. I not only have an open mind, but I expect to pursue residential, mixed-use, and commercial development. The nearby deep water access of New Bedford Harbor, the rebirth of a previously proven rail system, and the underutilized capacity of a potentially regional airport are all contributing factors to what Dartmouth could be. I'm hopeful that our collaborative visions will write our master plan with both obligation and opportunity in mind. We should be obligated to the work of our predecessors, yet committed to the opportunities ahead. In many ways and circumstances, growth is a matter of time. No growth is not an option. I'm standing by Dartmouth for all of Dartmouth. Fair and equitable representation of all zones, residential, mixed use, and commercial. 55 and older communities supported. Senior care and affordable senior living supported. Sustainable growth and development. Preserve socioeconomic diversity, yet opportunity. In closing, I firmly believe that what we work on today is what our children will find tomorrow. I hope and pray we can provide our children with more to share and enjoy rather than amend and correct. I'm Nicholas Psychopatis, and I'm asking for your vote.